Guys, it is the top of the hour and we want to honor your time. So we're going to go ahead and get started. My name is Will Acuff. Welcome to the Kingdom Founders Launch Party. And today I'm going to show you how to have a massive kingdom impact in your community through the power of small business with a turnkey solution. Now, stay to the end if you're like, oh, is this for me? Stay to the end because we're going to do a raffle and somebody is going to get a new pair of AirPods. So you want to stay tuned for at least that. Panelists, I'm sorry you can't win. But guys, here we have me way back in the day. The plan was not to be in Christian ministry. My plan was to be a rock star, and I had like the hair to prove it. And I was touring all over from the Apollo in Harlem to the Dallas Hard Rock, opening up for bands like Wilco. But what I found over time was the band was good for my ego and bad for my soul. And the Lord started to change my life when He introduced me to an expert in the AIDS pandemic who is a professor at the University of North Carolina. And this guy started showing me the ins and outs and the layers of complexity of global poverty. In fact, he led a small group at his house where we would gather every Sunday and wrestle with what should Christians do in the face of poverty and suffering. And then after 6 months of that, he led us on a trip to Nairobi, Kenya. This is back in 2002. And you have those moments where you go, oh my gosh, how can I move in my life again, now knowing what I know, right? And it's a cliche story, like middle class kid from America has to learn that poverty is real by going to Africa, right? But that is exactly what happened to me. And when I came home from that experience, I knew that I needed to get a theology of neighbor. Now, I didn't quite know how to do that. So fast forward, my wife and I, we moved into a low-income community in Nashville, Tennessee, where my wife became a job training specialist at the men's prison, helping neighbors transition to employment. And we kept an open front door policy, doing life with these men and women and their families. And what we learned along the way was that we are surrounded by image bearers of God with God-given passion, creativity, and drive, but who didn't often have a bridge of opportunity to express that into the marketplace in a way that would actually launch them out of poverty. And this is an interesting place to do this, Nashville, Tennessee. If you're not familiar, there are cranes, construction cranes everywhere in the sky. We're building a new NFL stadium. They just announced that we're getting a Super Bowl. Oracle, one of the biggest software companies in the world, just said they're moving their global headquarters here. So in many ways, we are a boom city. And yet, at the same time, we're in the bottom 5% for economic mobility, which means if you're born into a low-income community, you're likely going to stay there without significant and sustained intervention. And so my wife and I started asking, how do we change this in our community and with our community? And we started asking the experts, and one of the consistent things we heard was that small business creation could change the future of a family, and then as they grow, even their neighborhood and their community. And that was the answer that we landed on. Small business. Help people become their own economic engines, and you launch them out of poverty. Neighbors like Adrian. Y'all, Adrian first came to Corner to Corner after doing a year's worth of launching her business by herself. No training, no business, background, but she had a great idea. She was going to be the Uber of notary services because she learned you can never find a notary when you need one. They only, I think work every third Tuesday for like 9 minutes. So she was like, hey, I will show up for you where you are. But she got to 35,000 in year one on her own without any training, but her growth stalled out. And she started saying, man, where can I get help? And a friend pointed her to our program. After going through the program in the next 12 months, she did over 85,000 in revenue, y'all. I talked to her recently. She's closing in on 200K. And when I said to her, hey, what has your business meant to you? She said, well, poverty told me my life had to be small. She said, but Will, my business has allowed me to expand my horizons. And I was like, well, what do you mean? What's an example? And she said, Will, I just got my son his passport because he's in a new school and they're doing a school trip to Spain. She was like, I don't have my passport and my son is going to Spain. I am changing the generations with my business. I was like, all right, Adrian, amazing, right? Well, Adrian's not alone. Here in the Nashville area, we've now graduated 1,952 of these incredible entrepreneurs. And last year, they put $46.7 million back into the neighborhood economy. Yeah. Along the way, we've had so many friends, family, neighbors support us and help this work to keep going. And one of them has been my friend, Ellie Holcomb. Ellie, if you don't mind, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And if you could jump on and tell us a little bit about the Canyon launch party and your experience with this community.
Awesome. Hey, y'all, I'm Ellie. I am floored to be here. My smile actually hurts because I love you, Will. I love the Corner to Corner family. And I am honored to share a little of my experience with Corner to Corner. I'll go back. I'm going to rewind just a little bit. Is that okay, Will, to how
Go
I got
for it. Go for it.
Okay, so 2020, heavy year in so many ways. I began to wake up in a way to the deep need for righteous racial reconciliation. I had the privilege of leading a small group in the wake of so much tragedy. I was like, I want to be a part of rebuilding and restoring and loving all of my neighbors. And so I led a small group with my friend Zandy, beautiful Black woman, singer, kind of rock star. And we, with Be the Bridge, went through Latasha Morrison's book. And one thing in the wake of going through that book and wanting to learn how to be the Isaiah people, that we get to be the people who rebuild ancient ruins. You look at the history and just our country alone, and you're just like, I feel so small. And how on earth do I do that, Lord? How do I rebuild the ancient ruins of so much pain that has happened in our country? I've grieved this, I've repented, and now I want to be a part of reconciling and rebuilding. Enter Corner to Corner. I have known Will and Tiffany for a very long time. And I was talking with a friend of mine. I was like, I want to be a part of helping rebuild and helping support all of our neighbors and neighbors who don't have economic opportunity. What can we do? And she was like, Ellie, have I got you need to come see what Corner to Corner is doing. So I knew Will and Tiffany when she was doing the job training stuff. They were a part of our church. But my first entrance into Corner to Corner was actually coming to a graduation. And I got to be, if you were here earlier, Will was talking about, it's not Shark Tank when what can you do for me, but they do a competition for all the graduates. And 3 winners get sort of fund money to help seed into their companies. And they get to is it 10 people get to present? Is that about right, Will? Okay, I
Yep.
think that's right. 10 people present, and then they bring judges from the local community. So I got to be a judge and cheer on all of these new businesses that were being launched. And I mean, y'all, Corner to Corner graduation parties are a party. I ate like a queen. It was literally like every past graduates are there. I got to see firsthand how Corner to Corner was transforming our community and walking around all these booths of all these amazing businesses. I was like, oh my gosh, this is Coneheads was there. And I'm like, this is like the best. This is like I've never had anything like it. It was an ice cream cone with chicken. Are you kidding me? This is a dream come true. And so I'm meeting all these amazing people and neighbors who have started these businesses and come around to this business called Carlos T. His last name was Party. Okay. And I'm like, Party. I used to have a student named Carlos Party. I used to be a teacher. And I look up and I see Carlos, who was my 8th grade student. He had graduated obviously from them when I used to be a teacher before I became a musician. And I said, Carlos, it's Miss Holcomb. I used to teach you English. And y'all, Carlos is an incredible example of how Corner to Corner is transforming a community. He was an eighth grader. He was being recruited in the middle of the year by a gang, by the Bloods, started wearing red. He's a brilliant kid, leader in the class, and literally his grades started tanking. His teachers stepped in, notified his dad. His dad shows up at school one day, really helps him turn his life around. Fast forward, Carlos goes through this program with Corner to Corner and literally launches his own business. He is now this like incredible business leader. He started the Nashville Black Market, which is an incredible celebratory time for Black owned businesses to come. And it is a party, there is dancing. And so he is a huge part of transforming and feeding this incredible new economic opportunity that we have that Corner to Corner has helped create for so many of our neighbors. So it is so fun to get to watch the support come around him, and now he's a leader within Corner to Corner, which is incredible. I think, and his wife have both led a couple of graduate classes, which is so cool. So I was launching a record called Canyon, and just decided, man, I could think of nothing that I would rather do than have all Corner to Corner graduates do this party. So I had Coneheads come. I had my sweet Ruby's come, who does incredible desserts and cake pops. Actually, she literally just dropped off my son's cake pops for his birthday yesterday. She and her son. We had La Marvelous balloons. We had You Got Framed taking pictures. We had Sangria Soul serving up some drinks. It was literally, and then Carlos's wife, Bird Foodie, Chef G, she came with like the healthy, good, amazing, delicious
She
options.
balanced it out with some vegan. Yeah.
She helped us out with some vegan. And I literally tasted her food because Carlos was like, you got to try my wife's food. I was like, buddy, I'm not a vegan girl. And he was like, trust me, Miss Holcomb, you're going to love it. And I was literally like, well, I've never enjoyed anything more. So it has been so fun. It was such an amazing thing. I had a song called Be the Bridge. And we are called as followers of Jesus to rebuild the ancient ruins, to be bridge builders, not just from hopelessness to hope, from death to life, but also to help people stand up and have economic opportunities where they haven't before. And it was such a beautiful thing to get to link arms with Corner to Corner. Shayna and Will were there at the party, and they got to share about what they do with this whole music industry. So I'm going, hey, labels, look, if you need somebody, we have all of these new businesses that have launched. And so it has been such a joy to see the growth that God is creating. And it's growth in business, yes, and that is a huge deal, but it is also, I really can't think, I talk about Corner to Corner all the time, I cannot think of a better organization to help us love and support our neighbors, and to help create community and camaraderie within our cities. And I could not be more floored that Corner to Corner is going nationwide.
Oh, thank you so much, Ellie. Y'all, round of applause for Ellie. Thank you for being a part of today. Y'all, that record launch party was like a testimony to community. It was so fun to see. And if you're curious, like Corner to Corner, Kingdom Founders, Corner to Corner is the nonprofit we started in Nashville, and Kingdom Founders is like the national arm of Corner to Corner. So that's how the two interconnect. But y'all, imagine this. It's 6 months from now, your church or community has launched its first group of entrepreneurs. Business leaders from your community, like current business leaders, are volunteering with joy. And families who used to need help over and over and over again are now creating income for themselves and for others. That's the vision. You can have a huge impact on your community with this turnkey solution. And you'll know it's working when you've launched dozens of families out of poverty. Business leaders are putting their faith into action in new ways, and new people have come to Jesus and known his love through this faith-based program. So after decades working in low-income communities, y'all, here are the 3 things that I've learned that hold us back. Because I want to address some of why we might not get into this work. And I want to invite us to maybe think in new and imaginative ways. Number 1, Relief alone will never lead to transformation. Most churches and communities, they care deeply about their neighbor, but often we see this expressed as like emergency food, clothing, or benevolence programs, right? And don't get me wrong, relief matters. We should be doing that. But relief is a great place to start and a terrible place to stop. Because relief addresses symptoms, but if underlying income doesn't change, the overall situation doesn't change. I think about it like giving a neighbor a new economic engine. It doesn't matter how shiny the car is on the outside if we're still have a broken engine. And so the most effective engine that we've seen is ownership. A small business doesn't just meet a need once, it creates income over and over and over again. Again, we've done this now 1,952 times here in Nashville, 46.7 million flowing back into the neighborhood economy. We have seen this work. All right, number two barrier that I see. The people we serve are more ready than we think. This is not a talent gap. This is an opportunity gap. Okay. Most people don't lack potential. They lack education or mentorship or community or a clear path. And y'all, I just want to speak to the Christians right here for a second because we believe this big theological truth, the Imago Dei, that our neighbors are image bearers, which means they uniquely reflect God's glory. So God has already imbued them with innate God-given passion, skills, creativity, drive, right? His thumbprint is on their life. So we're not trying to give them something that God already gave them. We're rather building a bridge for them to express what he has already put into them. So neighbors are ready, y'all. Neighbors like Kayla. I want to tell you the story of Kayla from the city juicery, y'all. Kayla wanted to bring organic, healthy juices to her community. Started with like a $30 Walmart juicer, mixing it up at home, figuring it out. Came through our program and was like, okay, I learned about distribution. I need to get access to some foot traffic. Got a spot at the farmers market here in Nashville, y'all, like a little booth at the farmers market. Calls us a month into that journey and was like, y'all, this Walmart juicer was not built for this volume. It's starting to smoke. I'm worried it might melt through the table. Can you guys give me a loan to upgrade my equipment? We loaned her $1,000 to take her equipment up to the next level, and we gave her 12 months to pay it back. Y'all, she paid us back in 6 weeks. All right. She upgraded big time. Fast forward, we were so impressed with her. We connected her with our partners at Goldman Sachs. They lead a program in Manhattan. Kayla goes up there and I had texted her, hey, congrats on Goldman Sachs. Thank you, Will. And then she said, got him. And I was like, got him? What do you mean? And she then went on to tell me that she had secured her biggest order ever, 200 units of juice from Goldman Sachs, right? Because she found out they were doing an event the next week. And so I just love this so much. And then they were so impressed with Kayla, they said, hey, would you ring the bell at the New York Stock Exchange? So I got this photo of Kayla at the New York Stock Exchange, where she got to see an even bigger vision for where her business could take her and what God was up to. So, y'all, we've got a few minutes. I would like you to actually meet Kayla in person here over this webinar. She's our surprise guest. I'm going to stop my share. Hey, Kayla, I'm so curious. So way to go. You've crushed it. What are you up to since that 200 juice order? What's the status of your business today?
Absolutely. So first, I just want to lead by saying thank you, Jesus, because I was not an entrepreneur. I had no entrepreneur spirit, but I grew up with people like Carlos Partee in the North Nashville neighborhood where a lot of legacy is born. And I had this calling on my life to share my own healing journey from my kitchen through the community. So that's how we got here. Carlos introduced me to Will. I got introduced to the Entrepreneurship Network, and I am so grateful to have people like Will in my corner, to have Kingdom Founders surrounding me, and just like he said, helping me cross over the bridge that they have built for us. So I just always got to leave with a heart of thankfulness. So since then, I graduated from the program in 2023, and a lot has happened. But the more recent turns for 2026, I just had the opportunity to hire an executive director who comes into the business with over 20 years of experience in the health and wellness industry. So she is leading us, securing retail partnerships with people like Nutritional Factory. So we just landed a retail deal with all the nutritional factories across Tennessee. We also have a seven locations now. Our main hub is the Nashville Farmers Market, but we are in Memphis, we are in Knoxville, we are in Chattanooga, and we're now expanding across the state lines into the Alabama sector. So North Alabama,
Way to
Huntsville
go.
area, please be on the lookout for us. But our biggest partner today started off as a 200 unit bottle order. Goldman Sachs has fell in love with my juice so much that now that order has more recently turned into over 3,500 units, and they're getting those juices like clockwork. So I'm just so grateful that I just first gave God a yes when I wanted to say no, right? Again, entrepreneurship was not my story. I was in education, loved it, enjoy educating the youth in the community, being somebody from inner city, like my fellow Miss Ellie already said, the importance of having the right teacher. So I just knew that I wanted to be in that. But giving God a yes and just allowing him to, let me say this, let me stop here. Trusting him. Trusting him every step of the way. This is not easy work, but it is definitely doable when you are doing it with Christ. And I'm just so grateful for everything that has happened for
Mm.
me. Like Will said, generational opportunities. I'm so proud to say that my daughter has been connected with another fellow entrepreneur who's a makeup artist here, and she's 12 years old, and she was selected for a makeup internship. But that is only through the network and the bridges that I've been able to cross with Will, with Kingdom Founders in our local community. So it's true. It takes neighbors to be neighbors to one another, to move the needle, to change the narrative, not only just for me and my experience where I do this now full time. I can live a certain lifestyle that I never imagined living. I never thought I would be in New York, let alone going to the stock exchange. That is mind blowing. But this now is opening up opportunity for my daughter to start her own
Mm.
entrepreneurship journey at 12 years old.
Yeah,
So
that's
I am
amazing.
so grateful. I am so grateful. And I just recommend to anybody, if you're going to do it with Christ, because you cannot do it alone.
Yeah, amen. Man, thank you so much, Kayla. We are very grateful and encouraged to be a part of your support crew as you keep growing and expanding. Y'all, last couple points. This kind of story is possible in your community wherever you find yourselves today. A little background on the data. 81% of our graduates are still operating their business. Okay, huge stat. 43% are part-time or solopreneur, adding a little extra family income. 48% give themselves the best job they'll ever have and they go full time. And then 9% are locally scalable. If you're wondering, hey, where's this data coming from? Well, we're partnered with Vanderbilt University, Belmont University, MIT most recently, and the University of Notre Dame. Number three barrier, y'all, your church community can do this without adding complexity. Okay. Because we have a step-by-step curriculum, proven curriculum, training and coaching for your leaders, a clear model for how to run this in your church community. And you don't need more volunteers. You've got business leaders sitting in your seats right now. But often, y'all, this is what we do, right? Forgive AI Steve Jobs, but we have business leaders pass out bulletins in the front of their church without harnessing their God-given passion, skills, and creativity in a way that will launch them out into service efforts. So y'all, to speak specifically to what it's like as a pastor, to get your business leaders plugged into this, Matt Smallbone, author of The Prayer Experiment, would you share just a little bit about what it's been like to get your folks engaged here locally?
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. What a wonderful time this has been. We live our church is in this interesting zip code. We're in downtown Nashville, where there's some affluence surrounded by poverty, and Nashville's just kind of a bit of a wild place to live right now. And I think I just want to say that if you care about poverty and you want your church to get involved in it in an honoring way that actually works, this is it. Um, for any of the pastors out there, a lot comes across our desk that looks good, and you find once you get into it a little bit, it's actually I'm going to have to hire 17 staff to pull off this poverty response, and we just can't do it. The giving's not there. And so what I want to do is just say I think you've got a sense of Will's competency by this point. But they have this thing really dialed in. This is not going to be your if you do this will not be your new part-time job that you have to volunteer towards. And also I think you will find that the entrepreneurial business leaders in your church who've struggled to find a place to lead meaningfully, that they start running and they'll become some of your greatest church members out of nowhere. So we have seen this work. We've been the great beneficiaries. A lot, Will, is it still a lot of the graduates are in the food industry? That's a big part
Yeah,
of
it's
it.
about 30%. Yeah.
We benefited greatly at a very, 5,000 foot view of just having some great food at church events as well. So it's like it's a legitimate win-win-win. We've loved to been a part of it, and it's been manageable for me, who has the staff who's just not quite big enough for the size of our church, and that's because they're super organized. And my only fear is that you've been listening to this thinking this sounds too good to be true. And when Will first pitched it to me, I was like, it can't be this good. And the twist has been it is this good. So I'd encourage you to
Mm.
on it.
Oh man, thank you, Matt.
Yeah.
Well, I want to be sensitive to time, y'all. So we're just going to wrap up here in a couple more minutes. But what I want to emphasize is we've taken everything we've learned here locally from launching nearly 2,000 entrepreneurs and built a simple step-by-step pathway for your church or your faith community to do this. At the core, it's about two things: walking your community toward economic thriving, grounded in the love of Christ, and activating and discipling business leaders along the way. We provide a step-by-step process, training and coaching for your leaders, and then a clear launch pathway for success. Every community and every church is different size, different context, different questions. This is not something you have to figure out on your own. Last year, we helped the Charlottesville, Virginia area get going. They've already graduated 59 entrepreneurs, y'all. This isn't just a Nashville story, it's becoming a national story. So if you're like, hey, this is making my heart beat faster, how do I take a next step? Let's get on a one-on-one call. I'd love to get to know you and your faith community and your community just a little bit better, answer your questions, and then see if this is a good fit for you. So the easiest way to do that is calendly.com/Kingdom Founders. That will have a bunch of different calendar options. Or you could email me. It's just will@kingdomfounders.co. And I would love to schedule that one-on-one call. So y'all, we will wrap here. And let me just end with a thank you to Matt Smallbone, The Prayer Experiment out now, Ellie Holcomb, dear friend, listen to all of her music, and Kayla, y'all, the City Juicery. I would be remiss if I didn't tell you she can ship anywhere. She knows how to ship 3,500 units, so she could ship you a couple. So go to the City Juicery and check that out. Thank you for being here, and I look forward to seeing you on a one-on-one call soon. Thanks, y'all.